Every single thing an athlete does, whether it's a swing, a shot, or a tackle, it all starts with a little spark of visual information. But how does that information even get into the system to begin with? Well, today, we're diving deep into the A.R.E.S performance loop, and we're going to focus on that first, absolutely critical step, how elite athletes acquire the data they need to dominate. All right, let's just jump right in by tackling the one number everyone thinks they know about their eyes, 20/20. We've all been taught that this is the gold standard, right? Perfect vision. But here's the thing. In the world of high-speed sports, 20/20 is barely the price of admission. So let's just ask the question straight up. Is 20/20 eyesight elite? The answer is a hard no. Not even close. Think about it. Being able to read a static chart in a quiet doctor's office tells you almost nothing about how your visual system performs under pressure, in motion, with chaos all around you. The real game is played in milliseconds, and it starts with something way more active than just seeing.
And this, right here, brings us to the core idea of this whole explainer. Seeing is passive. It's just what happens when light kind of washes over your eyes. Acquiring, on the other hand, that's an active biological process. It's a skill. It's the deliberate hunt for and capture of this specific visual data that your sport demands from you in that exact moment. This brings us right to the first stage of the A.R.E.S loop, and it all goes down in that first critical millisecond. This is where the entire chain of athletic performance kicks off. If you get this stage wrong, everything that comes after it is already compromised. So let's get really precise with our language here. In the A.R.E.S framework, we define acquire as the biological capture and sampling of visual data that sport requires. Now, the key words you gotta hear are capture and sampling. We're not just passively soaking in the world around us. An athlete's eye is actively hunting for and grabbing the most important pieces of information it can find. And what's so cool is how we can break that process down. See, acquisition isn't just one thing. It's really a bundle of different skills. You've got gaze targeting. That's how fast and accurately you can point your eyes. Then there's retinal usage, knowing when to use your super sharp central vision versus your motion-sensing peripheral vision. There's also feature encoding, how well your biology can actually pick up on critical things like edges and movements. And finally, system speed, just how fast and stable is that whole data capture engine. This statement right here, this is everything. It really highlights the brutal reality of the performance loop. A failure to acquire data isn't just some small mistake. No, it's a catastrophic failure that just cascades down the line. If the data you capture is fuzzy, or it's late, or it's just plain wrong, the brain has absolutely nothing to work with. And your timing, your execution, the entire system just collapses. So how does this incredible biological capture system actually work? To really get a handle on acquisition, we need to take a quick look at the hardware. Let's trace the journey of light, from the outside world all the way until it becomes a neural signal the brain can actually understand and use. Just think of your eye like a super high-speed camera system. First, the cornea and the lens, they work together to focus the light. And believe me, an athlete's ability to shift focus from near to far in an instant is a physical skill. Then the pupil adjusts how much light gets in, controlling clarity and depth of field. But the real magic, that happens in step 3, at the retina. That's the sensor at the back of the eye, and its job is to convert that light into a neural signal. And the retina isn't just one kind of sensor. Oh no, it's got 2. And each one has a very specialized job. First, you have cones. They're packed really densely in your central vision, and they give you that super sharp detail and color. Their job is to identify things, like the spin on a curveball. Then you've got rods, which pretty much run the show in your periphery. They're not great with detail, but they are unbelievable at detecting motion, especially in low light. Their job is detection, sensing that defender you never saw coming. And this right here might be the most misunderstood part of vision. Your retina is not a dumb camera sensor sending a full video stream to your brain. Can you imagine? It would be way too much data to process. Instead, your retina is a smart processor. It actually pre-processes the light and sends compressed features, things like edges, areas of high contrast, and, most importantly, motion. It's already filtering out the noise before the signal even leaves the eye. Okay, so if we have these 2 different sensor systems, one for detail and one for motion, it creates this constant strategic challenge for every single athlete. You just cannot look everywhere at once with maximum detail. It's impossible. You are forced to make a choice, millisecond by millisecond. And this lays out that fundamental trade-off perfectly. You can use your fovea, your central vision, to identify fine details, like the seams on a baseball or a jersey number. Or you can use your periphery to detect broad movements, like a lane shifting in traffic or a defender crashing in from your blind spot. You can't do both at the same time, in the same place. Elite acquisition is all about managing this trade-off better than your opponent. And here it is. This is the costly result of getting that trade-off wrong. Performance isn't lost because an athlete can't see. It's lost because they aimed their high-detail foveal vision at the wrong place at the wrong time. They were busy identifying the puck when they should have been detecting the open player. That misallocation of a biological resource, it's a primary source of error in all of sports. This all leads to a really mind-bending concept. Your vision of the world is not a smooth, continuous video stream. It's actually a series of incredibly rapid snapshots. Your eyes jump from point to point, those are called saccades, and then they pause for a split second to acquire data, those are fixations. Your brain then stitches all these little samples together to create your perception of a smooth reality. So acquiring is the skill of making sure those samples are taken from the most valuable spots in the environment. So we've established that acquiring visual data is this complex active skill. It's got multiple components, critical trade-offs, which leads to the really obvious question, right? If it's a skill, can we measure it? And if we can measure it, can we train it? And this is where it all comes together. The AQA, the Acquire score, is designed to do exactly that. It is not a measure of your eyesight, it's a performance metric. It actually quantifies how efficiently an athlete does all the things we just talked about. The speed and accuracy of their gaze, their sampling efficiency, how well they use their periphery. It turns this whole complex biological process into a hard number we can work with. So the big takeaway is this. What we see is the absolute foundation of what we do. For generations, athletes have trained their bodies while basically just guessing about their visual systems. But now, the ability to actually measure the acquire process changes all that. It allows us to see, for the first time, the very first step in performance. So the final question I'll leave you with is this. If every single action you take starts with what you see, how can you truly train for elite performance if you don't even know how well you acquire?